Hey guys, it's Chloe, and before we start any other tutorials, I thought it best to share some finishing techniques when working with Kato Polymer Clay in its raw state. Now, we've added clay to an armature, we've sealed it with quick and thick instead of oven hardening, we've let it dry, and now we're going to finalize our pieces by glazing them. This is hardened quick and thick. It's not water repellent. So if you're going to be beading or making anything that comes in contact with the elements outdoors or indoors, you're going to be needing a water repellent or water resistant glazing material. My favorite glazing material of choice is the art resin. And I've covered this bead completely with it, but see what happened here? Because of the skewer that I used, the art resin stuck to it, actually stuck to the skewer. And then when I pulled it out after it had cured, some of the art resin pulled up and also away from the polymer clay bead. But if I had to do this again, I would probably do it a lot differently. And all I'm going to have to do is just shave this piece off and either reapply it or use something else. Now, what I think that I do next time, if I just glaze around the body of the bead, you'll see the next one that I show you, the yellow bead that we did. I just glazed around the body and I left the top and the bottom exposed a little bit, and I used something else, and I'll show you that in a minute. So I thought I'd take a look at the Liquitex acrylic mediums, and I did some research and found out that the Liquitex high gloss varnish is actually water resistant. So I bought some of that and I used that in some of our projects. I'll show you where I use that on the beads. Another varnish that I had not a varnish, but a medium that I had that I thought I would try and see what kind of water repellent it had was this matte medium. And I used it on this little pumpkin that I made. It gives a nice matte finish on the back and dullens it a little bit, so it doesn't look as shiny and plasticky looking. The third one that I tried, and I'll probably use this one here, the glazing medium by Liquitex. I'll probably just use that in some of the multimedia projects that I have, but we're going to have to test out its water repellent properties and really see whether or not that is an application we can use with this raw Kato Polymer Clay. So let's look at some results. Now the top and bottom of this yellow bead I glazed with Liquitex high gloss varnish, right? And even though the hole's really small, it gave me the opportunity to, and it gave me the freedom to, play with the hole a little bit, make it a little bit larger without cracking the bead and polymer clay underneath it. And around the body of this bead, though, I used art resin. Now here's a basic square that can be used as either like a kawaii charm. It's glazed, or a bead. I've glazed it with art resin. See, it's really, really super shiny. And I applied some matte medium to one of the sides just to see whether or not A, would it stick, and B, what kind of effect would I get, which is awesome. It's just nice and dull, right? Like sometimes you don't want that plasticky look, right? So, you have the opportunity to, even if it's glazed with art resin, you can take the matte medium and just cut out some of the shine a little bit. I haven't tested it for water repellents though, but it's nice and dull. I made my little pumpkin, my little Halloween pumpkin. And what I did was I glazed it initially with the Liquitex high gloss medium, high gloss varnish. I keep saying medium. high gloss varnish. And then what I did was I wanted to see the effect. I put some matte medium on there. It made it really dull. So I have a choice. Now this one is glazed all with the Liquitex high gloss varnish, and it's it's fine. It's like nice and shiny. Again, I haven't yet tested. I did do a test though. I'll tell you all about it. I did do a test, but I would not, if it's not completely water repellent, I wouldn't put it out in the elements, like out on a rainy Halloween evening. So the one thing is that with art resin, the beauty of art resin is that not only does it give you a really good water repellent shine, it really creates a nice hard shell on the outside. Whereas with the Liquitex, the only reason why this particular sculpture is nice and hard is because of the armature underneath it. It's tinfoil, and it's crushed in nice and tight, so it's nice and compact. That's what makes the sculpture hard. And as far as the thinness of the polymer clay sheet that I used it on like a 6, which is like a third to last thin setting. And what it did was it took up all the texture of the crushed, compacted tinfoil underneath it. So that's why it looks so rough. Whereas the other one, the little pumpkin, I used maybe, I want to say, my third thickest setting, or maybe it's a third thinnest setting, and it created a nice round shape. Okay, guys, so here's the test that I did with these with the gel mediums. Okay, so the first one, I put the glazing medium, the Liquitex glaze medium, against this black, and turn it towards the light. You should see a nice shiny surface. And then I use the matte medium, and you can see it is kind of dull. I don't know if you can you see that? Dull compared to the gloss medium towards the right. And then the last one is the high gloss varnish. Right, I have it there, high gloss varnish. And what we're going to do is we're going to test its water repellence. So water repellence, if it's water repellent, it will bead up when water is applied to the surface. Okay, hopefully you'll see this. I'm just taking a little bit of water and I'm applying it to the surface of, first of all, the glazing medium. See a little bit of droplets there. Now it looks like it's just sitting on there, but it's kind of smearing it. I don't know whether it's actually smearing and absorbing into the medium, because it's acrylic after all, right? So it could be that maybe, we'll see. So let's take a look at the matte. So the matte medium, same thing. It's not really beating up. It's smearing, smearing and maybe sitting there and absorbing into itself, perhaps. And we'll take a look at the glazing medium again. Okay, it's kind of beating up, but let me turn this around here. Let's take a look at the high gloss varnish. And we just apply some, okay, but when you smear it, okay, so yeah, it does beat up a bit, right? It's still, yeah, see, beads of water. You know what, I'm cautiously convinced, because I'm a big fan of art resin, which, I mean, okay, it's beating up, but I'm a big fan of art resin. Art resin, you just put water on it and it just falls off. It doesn't even sit. It just runs right off. So yeah, I guess so. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Yeah, not bad. But look. Okay, watch. I'm going to apply some water to this art. Look at it. It won't even stay on. It just runs right off. Art resin all the way for me. Look at that. Look. Beating up, not even staying on. But you see, with the Liquitex high gloss varnish, it did do a little bit of that. So I would say if you're going to glaze any beads that are exposed to the elements, I would highly suggest art resin as your finishing product. This pumpkin, I probably won't put it outside this Halloween, and that's with the high gloss varnish. But I mean, if it's indoors, I don't see any reason why you couldn't finish off your pieces with the high gloss, the Liquitex high gloss varnishes, and also if you're going to use that little square as a kawaii base, right, and you want it to look matte and sort of dull. If it's going to be indoors, away from the elements, away from any sort of water, I don't see why you couldn't use any of the matte varnishes or matte mediums or the gloss mediums. But again, I'm a big fan of art resin for anything that is coming in contact with water. So there you go. Leave a constructive comment, and subscribe. Until next time, see ya.